All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I want to talk to you here this morning. I'm going to try my best to help us all to think independently outside of the box. There is a box in this world that has been created for all of us to function in. In order for you to understand this box, I need for you to listen to me very closely and use self-autonomy. Start thinking, and then consider what I say. Just consider it, because there's so many opinions out there, and most of them consider themselves, simply because they have a piece of paper, to be a professional opinion. Well, I'm just going to give you my everyday human opinion. And I really, truly, I want you to think very, very deeply about what I'm getting ready to say. Before you and I came into this world, there was a system already in place. Our mother and father function in this system, and they believe this system, and chances are they're still living after the way that this system has trained them and manipulated them. We're all like computers, waiting to be programmed. And according to your social status, that's how your thinking is going to go forward in life. I mean, after all, if you've been raised in a rich home, you think differently than someone who was raised in a home that has an income of less than $12,000 a year. It's an automatic. That's why you see all these different types of social statuses in all the communities and parishes of the world. I mean, you can go to different places and see whatever takes place, the social ills that takes place in one place, it doesn't take place in another. The schools in one place is not the same schooling in another, while they all say that they all are operating after the same federal curriculum, so to speak. We all have what they call, they have private school, they have public school, then they have all different homeschool. They got all different types of institutions set up for you to learn by. And of course, every last one of these institutions are interwoven and all together for us to function in. Well, let me get straight to the point now that we all understand that we were all born into the world, and then this world was already in existence prior to you and I getting here. And we have been trained and manipulated to function in the world that they have given us, thinking that we are independently exercising our own will. We have never been taught to question anything. We just assume that it's right. So the system teaches us that you go to school, college, higher learning, so you don't have to get out and work with your hands as hard, gain more money. In other words, leave from an industrial type of revolution to a paper revolution. And I'm not downing anyone in any profession whatsoever at all. I'm just trying to get us to think for a second. Now listen to me very closely. There's a system, money, that is set up out there. No matter what your profession may be, what you choose to be a professional sports player, a doctor, a lawyer, a soldier, a nurse, teacher, fireman, police, who knows? They have training set up for you. And if you want to go up into these higher levels or these upper echelons and stuff, you have to go to school. And of course, you have to pay for it because that's what the system says. And then you spend the next 20, 30 years paying for information that they put in your head. Now, when I say that I'm an educated man, I'm a different type of educated person than you may be familiar with. I have some college, but I have no degrees. As a matter of fact, all I have to do is just actually go and enroll for a few more hours and I have an associate. But I believe that independent education, and that's why if you ever have an opportunity to come in my house, you will see an extraordinary amount of bookcases and books all over the place. And that's because I believe in investing in myself. So what they do is they set up these systems for you, the professional person out there who is going to make a lot of money. They set up these systems and automatically they expect for you to trust them. And that's why, these brokers who actually go to school to learn how to control your money off the backs of your labor, There's a reason why they're called brokers, because they're brokered in you. But the only way that they can make their livelihood is by the money that you invest. That's the same way with banks. I mean, look at our country. Banks are supposed to be the institution whereby they're supposed to be responsible and intelligent enough to know how to manage their own affairs. The banks, the airlines, and the auto industry, etc. But what happened? What happened? The people like you and I, who actually get out here, sweat for a living, who actually this country is basing all of its existence off of, because if it wasn't for extraordinary tax revenues that are extracted from us, because we're literally living in a time where we have taxation without representation. We have people in suits and shoes, but they don't represent us. They represent the interests of corporations. But anyway, we go out and we work. We work very hard, be it what the profession is, and they have these people who go to school to learn how to so-called manage our money. And what they're doing is telling you you're too incompetent to manage your affairs and your money. So therefore, we're going to set up these systems of investing. And what the way they get us is, and they get us by hoping that we will go ahead and invest. And it's nothing's never guaranteed. Unless you're like in a T-bill or treasury bill or something like that, or bonds. But you look at these dismal interest rates and stuff, you can actually make more money walking down the road with a bag in your hand and picking up cans on the side of the road than investing in this system that is literally collapsing since we're $17 trillion plus counting. And of course, I continually keep telling you, and I've always told you in the past, that's the numbers that they have told you. They're not going to tell you the numbers that are, the reality, since they have been fudging the numbers and cooking the books for quite a long time. There used to be a time I said $120 trillion in unfunded liabilities that we are saddled with. The debt, the extraordinary amount of debt in this country, but it's way past that. I think it's somewhere along about the $250 trillion that the United States of America alone is in debt by. And they're not going to pay it back. They have no solutions to pay it back. Listen to them. Listen to Ben Shannon Berlacki, and listen to all the other people who get up there and grandstand politically stage play up there in Congress, and you'll find out that they have no interest whatsoever at all in actually reducing the debt, managing this national debt, or even clearing this debt. Because remember, the borrower is a servant to the lender. And of course, the international bankers are the ones who are doing the handouts to us, and we are borrowing from them, and therefore we are serving them, because the lender is lending to us. And these people who are supposed to be our representatives and stuff have not made wise investment decisions. Because they haven't made wise investment decisions, rather than our Congress, the president, making life easier for us, the people, they chose to bail out the people who are totally incompetent in managing money or affairs. They chose to bail out the banks. They chose to bail out the airlines. They chose to bail out the car industry, because if they're too big, they're too big to fail. And if they're too big to fail, now that means you and I are totally irrelevant, because the truth is they really don't need us anymore, since they have used and abused my grandfather, your grandfathers, your mothers and fathers, and you. They don't need us no more, since now now that they have a printing press that is just literally running overtime now. They can create money out of thin air just by a book entry. They can just put you to. You ever go to the bank and get a loan, and you notice that the loan officer, he just writes something on a piece of paper, takes it to the clerk. Next thing you know, electronically, you go check your account. And if you got a loan, you're like, wow, I never did see physically $17,000 change from hands from one person to the next. Well, anyway, we have been conditioned to accept this system the way that it is, the way that it's functioning right now. And it's hard for us to change our paradigm, because we get comfortable, and the system knows this, because they're very familiar with the subconscious and the psychological warfare and the way that the mind works. So people go to school to learn how to manage your money, which if somebody would teach you how to manage your money, you could probably do a better job. But they're not going to tell you that, because they make money off of you. And so the banks are continually getting richer and richer, and the people getting poorer and poorer. We're watching real estate decline. We're watching everything about our living decline. I mean, all over the place. Our purchasing power is all but done nowadays. I mean, they're keeping the prices. Look at the deception today. They're keeping the prices the same but the amount that you receive in product is less. See, and what that's another psychological thing, because see, you go to the store and you may be aware of that, but you're still paying the same price, but you don't think that you're actually being deceived too much in value, because the prices are still hovering around the same. And that's how this system has learned from history over the years, that people are going to make an uproar and revolt and stuff if prices start going way, 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 way up. And so that's the same thing they've done with gasoline. Rather than giving us gasoline, they start taking corn, food, watering down or corning down the fuel supply, causing all types of problems in our vehicles to actually continue to keep the auto industry going, and us broker. Because some of us, a $500 repair bill is an extraordinary amount of money. But to the industries out there who constantly get money from the Federal Reserve or the banking system, that doesn't mean anything to them. $500 is like a $5 bill. And I'm speaking to everybody out there, whether you be rich or poor, not discriminating at all. So anyway, let me get to the point. I can go on in many digressions and stuff and paint many pictures, but I hope you see what I'm saying. Let's just take a person, professional football player. The average professional football player in the NFL makes about $350,000. It could be more, could be less. Don't quote me on it. But if you see a man sitting on the NFL football team, that's $350,000 a year. Now, hey, there's doctors and lawyers that have been in profession don't make that kind of money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of moolah. And that's the reason why people strive so hard to get into professional sports. Then there's the upper echelon that makes anywhere up to like $21 million a year. 18, 20, 16, $10 million a year just to play a professional sport. Well, they got Hulksters out there waiting in the background to do everything they can. One, to negotiate your contract with the team in order, to play, but they also get a cut, 3, 4, 5% or whatever, 10, 15, 20%. You never know how much those percentages actually stack up to until you have to start paying them out. Because they think you are incompetent to actually negotiate with the general manager. So they have somebody there to negotiate on your behalf because you are too incompetent to do this. And they can get you a better deal. And so they have interest in there themselves because they need to actually negotiate you a higher deal. So because the more that they negotiate a higher deal, the more they get paid. And so this is what's going on in our society here today. We have trusted the very system that is extracting revenue from us. It legalized extortion by suits and boots. And then they back it up by the power and the might, not only of the military, National Guard, but the common police force and sheriff department. And it's just a sad, sad shame. And we're muscled as a people and deceived. So we get out here and we work our fingers to the bone and stuff only to comply with a system that does not have our best interests in mind. Instead of getting wealthier, we're becoming broker. That's why I think that more than anything, if you're going to learn how to think independently, you're going to have to hear a preacher. A real true preacher. Now, there are a lot of people preaching, but you're going to have to be the one to determine who's the best one for you. I can't tell you that. I can't. But my advice is that you educate yourself and you learn about history. You take your own money, and instead of I know that it seems like it's crazy when I tell you, buy your safe, a good safe, or 2 or 3 or 4. Bolt them things down to the concrete. Get you a nice security system. And if you have a lot of money, get a couple of dogs. Make sure you have plenty of guns around. And you will actually do better at protecting your wealth than the banks, because one day you may go to that bank just like they did over in Greece. And you think you have all this money and you trusted the system, and the system will not let you get to this money. Most you see, if there's any type of normacy bias that is going on today, you will not understand what I'm saying. You'll chalk me up to some crazy crackpot and kook and stuff and something like that. Somebody is actually really trying to help you to understand and discern what's going on. Because we've been trained, understand that, manipulated. We have not been educated in this country. I know they call it education, but that education is for you to function after what they tell you rather than what you choose to think on yourself and make your own sound decisions to live as a free man or free woman in this country. And that's why everything has to be checked out. Everything, social, political, economic, religious, all of it has to be checked out. And I've come to learn over the years that if a politician's mouth is moving, they're lying. They simply cannot be trusted because they may campaign for your interests and stuff, but then when they get up there to the outhouse called the White House, they are actually worried about lining their pockets by the special interests. It's amazing how they leave as common people, but then and when they get back up and when they're in Washington, they become very rich and they come back here and they still want to campaign because they can make more money off of corporations than they can you, the small fries and the people, because the amount of money that you pay them according to the taxes, which you go out and work and you give into the system, is chicken feed compared to what the corporations give them, and they're not representing my best interest or your best interest. And believe me, they hate to hear this. They hate to hear this. So don't trust in banks, don't trust in investors, don't trust in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And of course, I can't tell you because the system has said that if somebody likes me try to give investment advice and stuff, they have made it illegal. And I'm subject to fines, penalties, and imprisonment simply because I choose to think differently. Now, what kind of that? Is that not some type of sick coercion and muscling and stuff? So the only thing what I can do in order to circumvent what they're doing is telling you what I would do. That's called investment advice. Now, if I were you, I would not keep an extraordinary amount of money in bank, because what I do is I protect my own. I protect it by AR-15, M4, a whole bunch of other host of things, and competent people as well that are experts in firearms. And not only that, the best protection is this up here. But the system is set up for you to get out there to work your fingers to the bone, so everybody has their hands out to make money off of you. That's why so many professional players, nobody teaches them about investing. They live for the here and they live for the now. They get in professional sports. They make all this money. And everybody has got their hand out making money off of it. The banks got their hands out. The brokers got their hands out. Your family got their hands out. And nobody is bringing in anything, but everybody wants your money. And they get it because you have not been educated in how to handle money. And then when you're broke, nobody's there. Nobody's your friend. Nobody. The banks are not your friend. Nobody. But they'll smile at you real good and dandy when you come into their banking institution and you put in their banks, because they're going to take your money and they're going to loan your money up to 10 times the amount of the deposit that you put in there. And they're going to charge the people interest off the money that you put into their bank. And they're going to give you a dismal interest rate like 0.5 or 0.8. And I seen it as low as 0.325 not too long ago. But they're going to charge the people. And it seems like, oh, man, we go out and get a loan. Man, what a blessing. 4% interest. That's better than 7. It sure is and stuff. But do you get the picture? Do you understand? This paper is going to crash. If you know history, it has a 40-year history. That's about it. And because they're extending the history here in the United States of America because they're a printing press. What I do is I invest in sound money, just weights and balances, the money, things that always has been money from the beginning of time, gold and silver. Gold and silver. That's why everybody out here, and if you notice, we buy gold, but they ain't selling you no gold. In a nutshell, you make a lot of money. There are people out there waiting to take your money, and they're going to present themselves as that they are in your best interest when nobody can actually do better by your money than you. So if you're in the NFL, the NBA, or Major League Baseball, or in some type of profession or something like that and stuff, I guarantee you that if you follow what I do, investment advice, a common old everyday man, which I don't have too much, but what I have. Because I don't want to give over what I have to somebody who's pretending, politically grandstanding and stage playing like they're in my best interest, when the truth is they're in their best interest. Because as soon as you don't meet their conditions and stuff, they'll can you and go get somebody else. And that's just a fact. It's just what a sick world we live in. Consider what I say. Maybe you'll get understanding. If I haven't clarified what I said good enough, then try again. Make a comment or something like that. But think about it. If I can tell the truth about the system in reference to this, what about the religious aspect? Think I can tell the truth about that too? I believe so.